During our most recent Disney cruise adventure, I mentioned the fact that some of those who have never been on a Disney cruise before are a little bit afraid or wary of the open sea and being out there with no land around. If you are feeling that way right now just thinking about it, don't worry, you are not alone. In today's video, I'm going to elaborate further and tell you a few more of my thoughts. Now let me put myself in your shoes for a moment, and it's not hard for me to do because it wasn't too long ago I went on my very first Disney cruise. I've never been on a cruise before, just imagining this, and I've seen these videos and pictures and news about cruise disasters. And before I even start thinking seriously about a cruise, a Disney cruise, or any other cruise line, I start looking more into these disasters, I start to get a little bit wary, and then I say, you know what, maybe I'll just go to Disney World. Trust me, I can totally understand that entire thought process. Doing something for the very first time that you've never done before, especially after you've heard about accidents and disasters involving things around that industry, talking about the cruise industry in total, not about Disney Cruise Line, but I'll get back to accidents and incidents in a moment, is definitely a scary thought. It's totally founded, it makes sense to have that thought. And even now, as I sit here and I just think about looking out onto just nothing but water for miles, miles and miles and miles, knowing that down below the surface is thousands and thousands of feet of nothing but black, dark abyss, that's a totally fair, scary thought. Even knowing my fear of thousands and thousands of feet down deep dark abyss and scariness, even knowing that I am afraid of that, is it going to keep me from going on any Disney cruises in the future? Not at all. Now you might be thinking, Michael, you don't have a full understanding of how deep and dark and scary that is, especially for someone who's never been on board before. Trust me, I totally do. Not too long ago, I went on my very first Disney cruise with my family, and even getting close to the railing, I didn't discuss this in the vlog because it was scary, but even getting close to the railing, I was nervous. I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna hold on, the camera doesn't matter, just, my life, I gotta, hold on, make sure that everything's okay. And so that's what I was thinking the whole time. It's a scary thought. Knowing that I have a lot of respect for the ocean and the scariness and the dark and thousands of feet down, knowing all of that, why do I keep going on the Disney Cruise Line? One simple reason, beyond all others, I am confident in Disney's ability to keep me and my family safe. Disney spends tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars training the cast and crew and retraining them year after year after year how to run the ship, how to operate everything, and most importantly, what to do in the event of an emergency. During the emergency drill on the very first day of your cruise, it's required by law on all cruise ships leaving the United States, you get a general feeling of where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, but more importantly, if you look at the crew and cast all around you, you get a general idea of their respect and their understanding of what to do in the event of an emergency. You can ask them any question about these things after the drill is done, of course, and they have an idea of where to go, what to do, what's the whole process. They've been through it so many times, they can do it in their sleep, which is the point. In the event of an emergency, there's going to be a lot of things in motion. You want the cast and crew to know exactly what to do and basically not have to think about it. They can just say, you go over here, let's launch lifeboats, off we go. They are well trained and they know what they're doing. Having all of that training is super important, and having the retraining that Disney requires also really important, but in the almost 20 years the Disney Cruise Line has been around, they haven't needed to evacuate any ship for any reason. My dad and I got a first-hand look at how much they prioritize guest safety when we missed Castaway Cay simply because of a few waves and wind. Disney realizes that every time they miss Castaway Cay, they do make guests unhappy. They don't want to miss this simply because it's that #1 destination that a lot of guests really wanted to go to, and many have saved up for many years to take their entire families on these adventures, and it definitely doesn't feel good not to make it, but Disney would rather have that happen than have any kind of accident involving their ships. On top of that, Disney Cruise Line does not take any chances. They don't go into the high waves, high winds, they stay away from hurricanes. Even on 2 of my recent adventures, they had to reroute simply because they wanted to make sure that the cruise was as comfortable as possible. They didn't want high waves, they didn't want an accident, they prioritized guest safety. So for all of what I've been saying here, I want you to take away the fact that Disney prioritizes guest safety, and I trust them with mine. So is it normal to be a little afraid to do something that you've never done before, especially after you've heard about accidents and disasters involving an industry around what you're thinking about? Absolutely. But should it keep you from what you want to try? No. If you've never been on a Disney cruise before, I would love to hear from you. After hearing about all of this and my confidence in Disney and their ability to keep me and my entire family safe, are you feeling a little bit better about going on cruises in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.